That's good. So yeah, the sword plant there, I think that's pretty much one of the only times we use it in the run. It's or no, I guess we use it in the general fight. It's really good at killing like surrounding weak enemies. The bats are normally very difficult and annoying to kill, so it comes in really handy there. There we go. And then next is kind of the first puzzle of the game. Basically, I have to throw that bomb into that wall. It took me like 6 hours my first time. I just stood in the room,
Just looked at
unsure what to do. Yeah. And then I'll see if I can get a little glitch that I always like to do here.
Oh, this is one of my favorite Easter eggs.
Just if you hit action at the right time, oh, it's close. You'll just kind of open that door from the wrong side. So yeah, using that horizontal dash, you just get across that chasm, which you're not supposed to until later. Again, not sure how much time it saves. We've never tested. There's a lot of stuff in this game that we just kind of like found little tricks for, and then just never went back to see if they're faster. And then just some like really minor stuff we would go and test for like days on end to see if there's a different way of doing it. So now I'm getting the second sub-weapon, and basically what the second sub-weapon allows you to do is just kind of switch between the weapons in mid-air, and when you do that, it just gives you another ground jump. And so basically you can just, like the description here says, by skip too quickly, just kind of jump as many times as you want.
Yeah, that's what
I've never seen any other use. So you'll see that from here the game opens up a lot. Like, I know when I first played, I thought it was a bit linear, but with this, it really opens up your routing options if you.
It's really cool the graphics were planned in this game. You'll be seeing that shortly.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. And so yeah, apologies in advance for doing most of the game sideways or backwards from here on out. It's difficult to get a good run without playing the game one of those directions. There we go. Loading trigger. So this was kind of neat. The boss door will activate if you're on the wrong side of it to show that it's locked. And then since you're on the wrong side, it will just spawn you inside anyway. And so that skips maybe 1 or 2 rooms, something like that. And then you can just go to the boss. Yeah, it's basically like you're supposed to go get a sword from like an adjacent room and then put it on the door, which then gets you to the boss room. But you can just kind of go up and over that room to get there otherwise. So yeah, this is the only boss that's like dependent on doing damage to it. As far as dying goes, all the other ones are just kind of like puzzle bosses, where as long as you do the puzzle, they die. Yeah, the trick to this is basically you just have to light the bombs on fire. So if you throw it through the fire, it just saves a bit of time of getting out the boomerang.
Don't mind me. Should we attach things to your shirt?
Oh, am I that quiet?
Mike's giving us a shirt. Not your fault.
Did you talk about a new skip in this game? That's a funny name.
That's later.
Okay.
That's much later. Yeah, it's interesting. There's been actually kind of a rash of activity on this game. Because I stopped playing it for a few months before this event. And then A-Fox had recently come back to it as well. And so there were a few things I had done that he had just found like this week and then there's one coming up later in the run. Oops. So I know, like, this was my first PC game, like, ever, basically. So even on easy mode, I spent a long time dying to this boss. Normally you just have one life bar here, but when you take, like, that invisible platform section in the prologue, the game gives you 4 as a reward. So it makes, like, in addition to just knowing the fights and not getting hit, it makes Apocalyptic pretty trivial when you start with that extra life. There we go. So you'll see, oh, I guess I already shut it off, the other use of the infinite jump. Basically, you can dash with it. You can jump down a chasm with it. Additionally, you can dash with it, maybe. And if your timing isn't terrible, you can just link really fast air dashes. And turning in the first heart. So yeah, pretty much after every dungeon, you'll see me come back and talk to that guy. Basically, he gives you a new power or something like that that lets you access the next dungeon. So there's a fight down there, but if you want to kind of stay low level with your weapon and everything, then you can just go up above, and yeah, it's a nice skip. There we go. So yeah, should I drop it?
Sure.
So yeah, I don't think I can really keep the pretense up. Not that I did it well, but of this game not being completely broken. Because from here on out, now that I have infinite jump, I can just do whatever I want, more or less. So, all you'll see me doing, or all the route is from here on out, is pretty much get the Vulgrim point, go to the dungeon, grab the item, and go fight the boss. And so, it's nice that you can approach the Vulgrim points from out of bounds. One of the big things with this game is that because they didn't want you to go around loading triggers and stuff like that, they made them extend out of bounds. And so it's easy to hit them from outside, like from pretty far outside. Let's see. There we go. So what we did for routing was basically find everywhere that the game has like a small hallway or something like that, and then see where the game kind of froze up for a few, like, split seconds, and we knew that was the loading zone, and then we just kind of saw how to go through it to load it from outside the level. And so because we skipped some of the loading times are like longer than they should be, even though it's on like a solid state drive, like this one. Because the way the loading zones work is there's some that are just like pretty universal. Like as long as you have kind of the basic area that it's supposed to be in loaded, then it'll be active and load for you. Other ones you have to load like in a specific sequence. So like this is one where you skip the entire auto-scroller with Ulthane of killing enemies. Just by going straight to the dungeon. And then this was the dungeon with a whole bunch of different changes because as we got better and better at the like infinite jump, which used to be really hard to do, used to be using hovering and stuff like that with the scythe, we just kind of skipped more and more of the dungeon to where now we barely enter it. All we do is like you see these doors, and any door you open will load the room behind it. I hope I don't drop this. And so if you open any of the doors, or there's just some like of those global loading zones floating out in midair, if you jump over to them, then somewhere around here, there we go, then it loads the next part of the dungeon. So like this is the closest you can get to the item with that global loading zone. If you just jump straight into the room with the item, it won't load. Or it'll load, but it's just slower. And then you get the fist. So that skips... Well, you skip the entire dungeon, basically, between these two splits.
I remember there's one dungeon where you could like see where you're supposed to go at the beginning, although it's like really young stuff.
Yeah, that's the 4th dungeon. Just calm down a bit. We'll get there. Don't rush me. I'm going as fast as I can. So yeah, this is another one where we're just off to the boss now, and we spent some time looking for the closest trigger you could jump to that's near the boss. We used to go to a door way off in the distance and then walk around from there, but we found one that takes quite a while to load. That's just a pretty precise jump over here. So that's why I use Z-targeting to kind of lock my aim. So once I line up beforehand, I know if I just jump straight over, I should have it. Cool, and I got it. This is the one of the routes that doesn't work on console. It just causes it to soft lock because it's way too much to process. Whoops. Jeez. I have a hard time kind of switching between the different keys there.
Have you soft locked a lot of PC?
No, I haven't soft locked on PC. What I have gotten is a lot of like crashes to desktop, especially on Windows 8 on this PC. So I'm hoping that the game kind of stays stable. It has so far, but we'll see. So I may crash once or twice. So you'll see me go into this aim mode here. That's so I can still move my character's like angle while doing the side dash. Because like I said before, if you're doing that straight side dash, where your character is looking is locked. There we go. So one neat thing about this boss fight is that I just went into it backwards. So I skipped over the trigger that causes them to spawn, and then broke all the obstacles that are normally in the way, and then caused them to spawn. So basically, made the entire fight pretty trivial from the start. Then this is another AFOX trick. Basically, he's scripted to hit you away if you're too close, but if you just go back immediately once you break his crystal, he won't hit you away. So you can just go grab the train car and then wait in the cutscene and hit him again immediately, which ends the fight. So that's the second boss, and left click first, but yeah. So that was the entire second dungeon, which I know first time through took me like the second longest out of all of them.
How long did it take you to beat this the first time, would you say?
A little over 13 hours, and then somewhere around 18 hours to get 100%. And that seems to be a pretty median time for people based on how long to beat .com. Ooh, good time. So I get the gun after that dungeon, and what the gun does is shoots you really fast. Basically by dashing in midair and then hold on, I can't do this and talk. So yeah, by getting the by jumping, dashing, and then shooting in midair quickly, you keep a lot of your momentum and can basically just repeat that to move very, very quickly. It's the fastest form of movement outside of the horse. Also, the gun allows you to interrupt the midair dashes which makes going backdashing and stuff like that a bit faster. Yeah, horn collar, crossblade, gun. Yeah, lore-wise in this game, it's a bit odd. They didn't stick with the like canon 4 horsemen. That's really close. Canon 4 horsemen, because they, I guess, weren't sure what they could do with, what is it, famine and pestilence. Don't speak of it. I hate the horse. And so they changed them to Fury and Strife. And voice just went out. Yeah, so for whatever reason, they gave Strife a whole bunch of different guns. Like, that's his character class, is the gunman. And so in this game and the next one, the guns you get are actually supposed to be his. Come on, a little bit. There we go. So yeah, now just have to go get the Volgrim warp point again. Oh, that's close. Yeah, as you can see from just like how many movement mistakes I'm making, like individually, the movements are pretty easy to do, but just like doing it over an hour is hard not to mess any of them up. Because you have the balance between going like as fast as possible and just getting it consistently. There we go. Up. And then pretty much through all these sections that I'm gun dashing, I'm just kind of staring at the mini-map to try to see where I am. I have some hope of going the right direction. And as far as like picking up Darksiders, it's I think pretty intimidating to pick up because the entire run is backwards. But this was something that took a really long time to get. Like any of the backward dashes in, like the backwards air dashes, we did ones so you could see where you're going that were a lot slower for like a full year and a half or something before we just had kind of the technical skill to like be able to do it backwards and moving around and everything. And then this part, you're supposed to slow down time so you can move on the sand and go between like designated points. But since gun dashing is so quick, you can just gun dash where you want to go, and you almost outrun the worm. Whoop. Like there was a challenge AFOX made me do the other week where we did this boss, which is just a giant worm without the gun, or no, without the horse, and you can just barely do it. It's ridiculous, but it just kind of shows how good gun dashing is and all the movement options you're given. Jeez. So yeah, through here, I'm just activating some very specific loading triggers so that the next section loads how I want. What I'm trying to do is load like a fight that happens coming up and then not load anything else. So you'll kind of see. Most people I've talked to say this is kind of their favorite part. So prepare to be underwhelmed. Just someone called it Bethesda climbing. So yeah, this part was actually like something that I was especially really like hesitant to try doing backwards, just because like it's really hard to see where you're going because there's like almost nothing to look at. So we basically just
line up on the really blurry background for the for that tower and whatnot, and then just kind of go backwards and drop at certain points. But yeah, to do the infinite jump like that, and why I said it's a lot of button mashing, is you have to hit jump and switch your sub-weapon at the same time. On PC, there's a next gear button that on button press will switch, and so you just use your weapon and then mash jump and switch 3 times to have it loop, and then just repeat it. And so the reason it's so difficult on console is because there's no next gear button, and you have to use the D-pad. And the D-pad doesn't, or 1, 2, 3 on this, it won't switch until you release the button. And so you have to time jumping and releasing a button at the same time on separate hands while you're doing the control stick. And you can get it once or twice pretty easily, but there's some where we just do it hundreds of times in a row, and good luck on console. So yeah, this part works because War does not die from falling, except in very specific places. But the enemies do. Like, there's quite a few spots in the game where they have cliffs set up so you can hit enemies off, and then they die after falling, and it feels great. But in this, you just let them fall, and then they die, and you reload, and you're back in. So the only worrying thing is sometimes there's another car thrower that doesn't fall, but I'm hoping to see him soon. There he is. Excellent. So as soon as he disappears, then I can save and reload, which actually reloads the entire level. And the reason I have to do this is because the next part of the fight, basically the enemy won't die from falling. He actually doesn't even fall that far. Then, like everything else, this fight's pretty trivial. Is it overpeaked really badly? Okay, just the speakers. And yeah, so the reason is he has this like cutscene death that you need to do and you can't do while falling. Maybe you could if you shot him enough. And then the one thing that we did buy at Volgrim was Possession, which refills this chaos meter, which lets me go into that form and just wreck this guy. It's actually a part that I'd probably die on if we didn't have that, because he hits for basically half your health for like 4 full bars. It is my horse. We could learn the fight, but just unpracticed, it's very difficult. There we go. So now we have the horse, and then we leave. Those guys are kind of special. They're very, very difficult versions of enemies. They kill me in 1 hit, so I just kind of run away. And that's probably the best option. There we go. I get lost in here a whole lot. So yeah, during most cutscenes in this game, you don't have any control over your character. Okay, horse. But during this cutscene, for whatever reason, you do. And so while he's making his face to the camera, I'm just jumping into the air away from him. And so, shoutouts to Sunny Jams. This is his skip. He didn't find it, but it's named after him. Basically, we had, where is it? This way? This is one I have not practiced as much as I should have. Eek. I got it though. So it can be a lot smoother into actually like falling in the window here. Oh, come on. Somewhere. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, he was a really cool dude. He watched my stream all the time. Didn't play, but wanted something named after him, so we gave him that skip.
You do call them weird skip names sometimes.
Yeah. It's coming up soon. It's coming up soon. See. This part is just annoying. Like, War swings whatever way he wants while he's on the horse. I can't be too annoyed because at least I have a horse here. Normally you can't, like while you're on the ground and you're not on the horse, you can't attack, you can't use sub-weapons, you can't do anything. But there's like a very tedious set of moves you can do so that you can use the sword while on the ground. And so doing this fight without a horse is possible, but only with extreme frustration. So yeah. So you can see this part takes like 10 seconds to do without a horse. It was 14 minutes is my best. Because it takes, you do like insane damage while you're on the horse. And so it takes like 10 times as many hits or something. Then I just have to wait. This boss is very, very heavily scripted. As long as you don't mess up, your time's going to be exactly the same every single time. And you don't have to kill like anything in this round, but I just do to pass the time. Anything from chat? The running joke is that like chat's just dead anytime I stream, because on my channel at least there'll be like, I average like 20 to 40 people, but I'll stream for like 10 hours and just have one line of chat, which is me testing it.
I remember that one time
Yeah, yeah.
You're kind of baffled by the mask behind you at the moment.
By what?
By the nightmarish greenish giant face that's sitting behind you.
Tender love out there.
Show the horseman glitch.
Yeah, shoutouts to Zastbat. He's heavily drugged up right now, but he just had his wisdom tooth out.
Oh no.
Yeah, but otherwise he was going to make it here, and so like we're all in a big Skype group, and we're sad to see him not here. Shoutouts to the Rift. Minus Adam and K.
Chat's asking, how is this a spiritual successor to Legacy of Kain? How is this considered the spiritual successor to Legacy of Kain?
Well, it's the prequel,
That's
not the
prequel.
successor. That's just something Zaspat and I decided, because if you play normally, they have like exactly the same puzzles all the time. So, pretty much means it's a prequel. Yeah. I don't know why you're so salty about that. Yeah, there's a conversation we had here where basically I define an RPG as any game that has a dedicated equipment or inventory screen. Because most games you can like switch on the fly or something like that, but only RPGs really take the like development time to make a dedicated equipment screen for you. And I think the only like counter they had to that was Resident Evil, which is an RPG clearly, and Quest 64, which is oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So yeah, that's something that happened.
Windows 8 happened.
Is the stream still up or did it HD? Okay. Let me know if it goes HDCP. It definitely might.
You just Charles Barkley the game.
This is something I had when I first ran the game on like a really bad Windows XP computer. And since I upgraded, hadn't had any sort of issues. Oops, I need to buy something. but it seems like just on certain operating systems the game runs very poorly.